Welcome to this ACS vanilla gameplay series, and welcome to video 59. In the last video, I showed you guys me just doing some tribulations and then me setting up some situations with body cultivators. So in this video, I'm going to continue to do those 1 billion tribulations because I want this guy to have 64 subspares, and I'm pretty much just going to work on that. And then maybe not this guy right here, and then maybe I will do some other things with body cultivation or Shendao, but ideally I would just focus on that in the next video just to keep everything organized. But besides that, I also wanted to point out this trick that I found with the branch areas that you can use, and it is a bug or an exploit, but I will continue to use it. So this guy right here, I have them set as my branch leader. However, they only have these 2 disciples in the branch who will benefit from the branch being in the branch by getting these buffs right here. This is the buff that increases their chi sense, mental state, breakthrough chance, chi recovery, and all of that other good stuff. But this branch leader is only good enough to hold 2 disciples, right? So if I add 2 more disciples, then they get the distressed branch leader debuff, which will reduce their stats instead. So they only have 1 stack, so they're losing 1 mental state, right? And then if I remove these 2 guys, then he gets that 1 mental state back. So we're from 195 to 196, as you can see. So that's why there's only 2 disciples in this branch, and then it continues to stack up some more even when you add more disciples. And this can be used on the Shendao if you want to reduce their mental state for whatever reason, but that's besides the point, even though I will showcase that later in this series or in a different series. Anyways, now that I've assigned everyone in the sect into the cultivation branch so that they have increased chi sense and all that, this guy has a reduced mental state and now they're at 111 mental state, and they have a reduced mental state of 85. But I learned that if I just create another branch and then assign them as the branch leader, then that will kind of overwrite the debuff that they're experiencing from this branch. So I just created a new branch, and it doesn't have to be a different branch, it could be the same branch type 2, and now they don't have that debuff, and they're at 190 and they're at 196 mental state. So then, now that they're at 196 mental state, I can just continue to, have all of my cultivators benefit from that. So if we go in here and we see that these guys have the buff, and if they go into the branch area, then they will get the extra buff to stats once they go into the branch area. Well, this body cultivator right here has this bonus to chi sense and all of that, since they're now in the branch area, and my guy doesn't have any debuffs. So now, just to double check everything, this body cultivator has 14 out of 20 chi sense, and then if I remove him from the branch, then their chi sense goes down to 6. So then if I assign him to the branch again, then again this guy's buff gets reset, right? But that means I just have to do the trick again. So the one thing that you don't want to do is unassign them as a branch leader, because that will give them a tired debuff, which is something that you can't take away. And the tired debuff, I think it lasts for like 28 days. So you don't want to mess that up. But if you do unassign them as the branch leader, then that will also reset the debuff, but they will get the tired debuff on top of that. But if I want to, just overwrite this current debuff, I just switch branches. So I can just go back to cultivation branch, and now they're back to having their normal mental state, and it's as if they have a branch with 0 people in it. So it's pretty effortless. So yeah, that's pretty much how you can have one disciple be able to handle a branch with the whole sect, and then on top of that, you can also have this one disciple becoming the branch leader of multiple branches. And if they have a good aptitude for all of those branches, then that's just really overpowered. So you really just need to make one extra branch and have it as 0 disciples, and then just toggle it so that you can overwrite their debuff. So yeah, that's all I wanted to show you guys, and I'll be doing more deep dive into that when I have the time to actually focus on that, because I do want to use that to reduce my Shendao's mental state when I need to do that. But I don't know, I just felt like felt like sharing that with you guys, and if you guys want to go in game and try to do some new things with that, go for it. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to doing these tribulations. So let's just get it started. I'm really not trying to make this a long video, but so hopefully I can just get through these final 24 tribulations with minimal interruption. And I'm already interrupted. This guy needs a tool for chopping. There's a tool for chopping right here. And as you can see, I have so many Spirit Stone bows that are being created, so I'm just rich at this point in Spirit Stone bows, and I can trade these to sects for items too. Anyways, back to this tribulation. This is a metal tribulation. Let me just do all of my double checks first. So the stats look good, and I'm ready to begin the tribulation. Let's see. I'm just thinking about some other things that I want to do. Alright, so this is the metal tribulation, so let's just start this off. And hopefully everything else is managed. Heavenly Panacea, Vitality Chant, you know. Doing tribulations at this rate, or I don't know, like, it's pretty much a close call for me, so every time I get back into doing these tribulations after not playing the game for a while, I'm like scared. I'm like, did I forget how to do it? Am I going to die by mistake? But you know, usually I do pretty good. It's just kind of hard because this guy is obviously like barely able to do the 1 billion tribulations, but they are doing them effortlessly, barely and effortlessly. So yeah, we got the first tribulation. Oh look, see, I need to get in my zone. And now we have the wood tribulation. Oh, I almost forgot to wait to heal up too. So let's do that. They just use reverse the cycle. And I have some disciples that are still adventuring, so I'm going to actually stop them from adventuring, just because I don't want to see any of these pop-ups like that. And then I have this guy just cultivating. Honestly, not this guy actually. I'm thinking, oh, this Lady Cloud. Yeah, they're not even cultivating because they have horrible mental state, so I would rather just have them sit here with good mental state. I really wish I got the prayer coins so that I can increase their base mental state by some more, because if I had the Torch Dragon clothing, then that would help out a lot. Anyways, back to these tribulations. I have a wood tribulation right here. I know what I can do. I know what I want to do next. But let's just focus on the tribulation for now. Let's go, let's go. Vitality chant. Vitality chant. Then I want Vitality chant to be pretty much off cooldown. Same thing. I'm just going to continue to do these 1 billion tribulations. Oh, I got a little bit scared there. Spirit roots are growing or nurturing. And reverse the cycle. So let's just use this Vitality chant to get our chi back up. And I'm attacking the wall to enter combat. I'm thinking healthy soil. So earlier today I did go forward and create a new blueprint for spirit roots so that I can grow these spirit roots while also, sorry, I'm just getting distracted by my wheat field, so that I can grow these spirit roots while also getting symphonies from each of the spirit roots. So I think I do want to try to set that up. So I created this blueprint right here. Let's see if I can show you guys what that looks like. Okay, so let's just start off with spirit roots. So these are spirit roots and they take up 9 tiles, right? And if a cultivator is close to the spirit root and cultivating, then the cultivator will get a specific bonus called a symphony. They'll get like a buff, but it can also be a debuff depending on if the spirit root is cursed or blessed, right? So if I assign this to my generation 2 turtle, then I have this guy cultivate. Then they're getting this sympathy bonus, right? Which they're basically feeling the energy of the spirit root. And this sympathy bonus is based on the range of the spirit root. And I have a blueprint that I created that allows me to pretty much see what the range is. So right here is called, this is a blueprint that I created. And obviously the thing in the middle represents the spirit root. I'm annoyed because my mouse is my mouse is always on something and is bringing up like an extra menu that I don't want to see. Okay, let me chop down these trees first. That is so weird. Anyways, this is the spirit root and this is the spirit root's range, right? So this wall around it, so basically as long as my cultivator is within this range of the spirit root, then the cultivator will get a sympathy bonus and then possibly just get like other random bonuses from the spirit root. So I created a blueprint in which I can use to get bonuses from 5 spirit roots at once. And this is what the blueprint looks like. So as you can see right here, I have all 5 of my spirit roots set up, and then if I test the range by using my blueprint, these display cases are just like indicators for where I will place my spirit roots. And obviously I have them out of spirit crystal because that's something that spirit crystal blocks are something that I do not have. So they're just there to help me see. So with that being said, these 5 spirit roots are all within range of these 6 tiles right here that I have that are like with the swirly design. So I can just show you guys how to test that. So right here, this spirit root right here will be able to affect these 6 tiles, and then same with this one too. If you can see, let's see, yeah, so this one and then same with this one, and then same with this one. So the display cases that I have in the perimeter are really just to show the range as an indicator, and that's pretty much how I came up with this blueprint. And then besides that, spare roots, for you to get a sympathy from them, they need to actually be growing. So I just partition these rooms out based on the different temperature tolerances that the spare roots have. And so let me just show you guys what the temperature tolerances look like. So let's see. So here's my notepad file. It's kind of all over the place because I was not trying to make it look pretty, but I'll make this into like an Excel sheet also. But if we go into the wiki, then that actually may look better. So right here in the wiki for spare roots, you can see that the fire and the earth one just, well, the earth spare root just needs it to be above 30 degrees, but the fire one needs it to be above 200 degrees. So I put these in the same room. And then the metal spare root needs it to be less than 20 degrees, and the water spare root needs it to be negative 120 degrees. So I put these together. And then the gnarl vine needs it to be, the temperature to be between 15 and 35 degrees Celsius, which is pretty much very comfortable for most cultivators. So I just have the gnarl vine in the middle. And then on top of that, I have the gnarled vine in the middle because spare roots will actually also increase the fertility of other spare roots if they're blessed. So I like to run mainly cursed spare roots. So I'm planning to use my gnarled vine in the middle to increase the fertility of the other 4 spare roots that will be cursed, because the cursed spare root will reduce fertility and the blessed one will increase it. So this one right here will increase the fertility of these 4, and then these cursed spare roots will not affect the other ones. So as you can see right here, like if you look at the top, we're really just focused on the fertility of the middle tile. So as you can see, this one is not affecting the middle tile of the spare root above it, but it is affecting the middle tile of the middle spare root, which will be the gnarled vine. So the gnarled vine will be losing fertility by being around all of these cursed spare roots if I do make the, and then but these other spare roots, as you can see, will be gaining fertility from the gnarled vine, and that's important because spare roots need fertility. And because the spare roots need a pretty high fertility, it's best that you put the spare roots down in like spirit soil, because spirit soil has a higher fertility. If you look at the bottom right of my screen, you can see that the rich soil value is 2.0. So spare roots, they need a fertility level of, let's see. By the way, this is the fertility effect. The fertility effect is one tile below the sympathy area effect, right? So I can still use my blueprint, but I just know that like for the fertility, if I'm thinking about it, it's just going to be one tile closer, basically. So then if I just go to here, let's search up fertility, which I've already done. Spare roots need 1.6 fertility on the middle tile. So that would just be really hard to attain with these tiles right here because they're at like 1.0. So the gnarled vine would have to do a lot of work if it was blessed. And the amount of fertility that it adds is dependent on their blessed curse value, right? So that's the setup that I would use if I wanted to grow all of these spare roots at the same time. And I might end up not being able to grow the one that's in the middle because it will be suffering from fertility loss from all of the other spare roots. However, I do want to do some tests on like soil that's less than spirit soil. So I know that this might not work, so I think maybe healthy soil would be a little bit realistic, because I don't always like to place my bets on having a big patch of spirit soil like I have right now for all of my gameplays, and I like for all of my strategies to work for pretty much all of my gameplays, right? But I think it would be reasonable to think that I can have a plot of healthy soil this large and most gameplays. So I think I will do my setup here. And then for my blueprints, I have blueprints for spirit stone and for spirit, or for buildings made out of spirit stone and for buildings made out of timber. And then I have them empty, and I also have them with indicators for the different spirit roots. So I actually have more spirit stone than I have timber, so I'll be using my spirit stone blueprint. And then I'm growing a lot of wheat in many different places, so I don't really feel bad about losing this, but I probably would feel bad about losing my spirit soil plot, just because, you know, players are weird with spirit, so it's just so precious that you don't want to mess it up. But I don't know, I think I could still get 1.6 fertility with this setup. So right here, let me also remove these spirit crystal displays. And then I also need to control temperature, so first let me turn off this weather. Channel cloud dispelling. So I'm going to add some goldwood display cases so that I can use those to control the temperature. So, my volume is actually really low. Let's see. Okay, whatever. Moving on. I can't really hear anything in terms of like end game, but it's okay. So let me just remove this field area and then do this test. And then if this doesn't work, then obviously I would just have to use the spirit soil plot, which would mean that I would have to probably find a spirit seed or something if I don't have enough spirit soil to cover this large area. But I should have enough in general. So now that that's done, I actually want to chop down all of my spirit roots, and I'm going to plant some new ones. So I'm just going to chop all of these down. Luckily I'm rich, so I can do this, but if I thought of making this blueprint earlier, then I would just have better planning and just have them naturally next to each other like this. So now that the gold was being created, the blueprint is building itself out, or being built by the disciples properly. I don't know what my builder is doing though, so let's see. Okay, they're probably creating spirit stone bows right now. Yep. So now they're creating the blueprint, and I'll be able to show you guys what that looks like exactly. So this is pretty much the blueprint, and in one of these rooms I will have the plants that are like connected to each other all together, and then the gnarl vine in the middle. So that's how I remember it. So in one of these rooms I'm going to have the prism lotus and then the sage fruit, because that's metal, and then another room I'm going to have the ultra essence and the crimson fruit. So that's easy to remember because it just works out to be that way in terms of the temperature tolerances, and I can go back to show you guys that. So the fire one is 200 degrees, and then the earth one is 30 degrees. Earth enhances, or fire and earth are connective, so yeah, earth and fire are connective, so fire enhances earth, so it's just kind of easy to remember. And then metal and water are connective too, so it's just easy for me to remember with that setup. And then the gnarl vine is in the middle. I don't know how I remember that, but I just think of it like that. So I'm going to plant the gnarled vine. Where did I place my blueprint? Okay, so this will be the first step, and then besides that, I do need to create some water for my prism lotus. So I need to have a disciple with lake shaping, or ideally I could also start and make this blueprint on water and then do flooring. But instead of doing that, I do have disciples that are really strong in cultivation level, so I can just use lake shaping miracle instead to create water for the prism lotus. So let's just search lake. So this manual right here, I don't know which law is in, but this one gives me land shaping and lake shaping in one. So I'll be able to create mountains, or I'll be able to create water. And I actually do not know which disciple I went to learn that on, so bear with me on that. Was it mile 3? No. Mile 4. What if it was the one that just left? Mile 6? No. 2. I'm pretty sure it was mile 4. Let me hit study just to make sure that that disciple didn't learn that manual already. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna learn on mile 6 and actually remember it this time. Okay, I can't do mile 6. Let's do mile 2. Okay, I can't do it on mile 2. Let's try mile 1. There we go. I usually use my mile 1 for like all of the other extra work, so I should just stick to using this guy. And then I'm going to go back into the recording and like see which disciple I learned it on, and be like, can't believe I didn't remember that. Anyways, to do lake shaping, you just target a plot of land and you can make some water. So this actually will be my first blue water that I'll make, but I'll just show you guys what the shape looks like. So right now, if you do lake shaping right and you want to expand it, it kind of tries to make a circle, but the game is really bad at making circles, honestly. So it's just really hard to get like the plot of land that you would need for a prism lotus, but I figured it out, and the method that I'm going to use is to make a 4x1 plot. So once I do a 4x1 plot with I did land shaping, not lake shaping. Once I do a 4x1 plot, right, then it creates a 3x1 plot, weirdly enough. So I'm just going to do that 3 times so that I can create a 3x3 plot. And then I think that I started at the wrong position here, but I mean, it looks pretty good, right? So that's my plan. Well, you don't even have to be like that meticulous, so I'm just going to start on the wall side and then do a 4x1 and then just keep going. And then let me check my prism lotus to see if I can place it down, because that looks like it might be able to work, but I think I need one more. Yeah, as you can see, I need one more, so this checks out. So I started this tile, then I want to go up one, and I want to go up one more. Don't get land shaping and lake shaping together. You will make mistakes. This is a good thing that my cultivator has a lot of chi. Okay, so now that that's done, I actually just ruined the soil too, so now it's healthy soil. But because of the water, it starts off with 1.6. And the soil directly on the gnarled vine wasn't affected, but I was just scared a little bit over there. So you may want to actually just do like a different lake shaping that probably won't affect the gnarled vine's location, because that was a little bit scary. So anyways, I'm going to move forward with planting the prism lotus. And then if I'm planting the prism lotus, then I want the sage fruit too. And you know, you don't always have to remember these things, but you can try if you want. I pretty much always double check everything though. So I'll put the sage fruit here, and I want them to be a solid distance from each other so that they don't affect each other with their element emit. And then I want the crimson fruit to be planted right here. And then the Ultra Essence, which is the Earth Elemental treasure to be planted in the same room as the Crimson Fruit, since those guys are fine with infinitely hot rooms. So now that that's settled, I just need to make sure that I make this room with less than negative 120 degrees, and then this one with more than 200 degrees Celsius. So this room is easily going to reach 200 degrees Celsius just because the Crimson Fruit is so hot. However, if I want to send my disciples to do things, I don't want them to just like die instantly. So I want it to be barely over 200 degrees. So what I'm going to do is create a display case, right? But I'm going to make this display case out of ignite copper bars, because if you make a display case out of a fire material, or if you items that are made out of fire-based materials cannot burn, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. So that's why I'm making it out of fire for this one. And then this area can just use my goldwood timber display cases, and display cases do not have any elemental emit, so they won't negatively affect the element or change the element based on what settings you want to have. So now that I have these display cases, which honestly aren't even necessary because I could put the items on the ground, but you know, I have fast builders, so I'm not really worried about that right now. I'm going to place a soul pearl to reduce the temperature a little bit, and then I think I also want to place some beast blood to bring the temperature back up to just barely like above 200. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for. And then this one is at negative 35, so I'll just use one soul pearl to bring them low. Or maybe, yeah, I mean, I'll just use a soul pearl, and then I'll use beast blood as needed, so that this one is also not dangerously cold for my disciples. So as you can see, it's slowing down at around 248, which, I mean, it's pretty good. My disciples have temperature tolerance of, you know, 90, 89, which is not there, but I mean, I feel like I just feel more comfortable if it's just like barely under 200. But obviously this is just a personal preference, so you don't have to do that. And this is at negative 204, which, I mean, it's fine. If my disciples are just going in and out, then it should be quick and they won't die. So now that that happened, I need to make sure that everything else is good. So as you can see right now, I'm facing fertility issues, and that's because I was thinking that maybe this wasn't blessed, so maybe they weren't benefiting from the fertility, but it seems like they are, huh? Let's see. So this has a 1.4 fertility, this has a 1.6 fertility, and this has a 1.4 fertility, and they need 1.6 fertility on the middle tile. So I think this just needs to have a stronger blessing to give them that full fertility if I was to make it outside of spirit soil. So let's just see what the formula was. I'll just search fertility. Okay, so as you can see, the fertility boost is for blessed spirit roots is 1 plus 0.1 times blessed curse. So I'll go from 1 to 2, and I just need like 0.2 more to reach 1.6 for these guys. So this is at 1.4, and then this one is good because it's at 1.6 fertility, and then this one is also at 1.4. So I just need to get a bonus of 0.2 for these. So I'm thinking that the healthy soil may not be it then. So I will have to move forward with using a spirit seed because I don't want to move these items over again, and I'm pretty rich in the game right now, so I don't even need to do that. So I'm just gonna throw a spirit seed down here, or a couple if I can buy a couple. Let's see, there's 10. I need 5 connection. I can only buy 1, so I'll just get this one spirit seed. But I'm not in a rush to do this, but as you can see, like, the temperature is good for these two, and the temperature is good for these two, but they just have bad fertility, or like barely not enough fertility. But I'm just going to drop the spirit seed down, and then if we go into the spirit seed wiki, I'll show you guys how that works. You can plant a spirit seed to create spirit soil. However, it does take time, so it won't happen instantly, but it will for a certain area. So if you bury the spirit seed, it will create spirit soil in a 19 times 19 square around it over the time span of 3 years. So this will change it, but it just takes 3 years to take full effect, and I don't even, like, it's okay. So I could either like just get 4 spirit seeds, which I mean would be possible at this point because I could just dominate the sect, but like ideally you would just have this on spirit soil, basically is what I'm getting at. So I don't know, like if you start off with Illumitry or something like that, then you can guarantee that you'll have that spirit soil, but other than that, you may just want to get some good connection with Blue Lotus Temple and then get that spirit seed going, or just wait a little bit of time. So either way, I would just have to wait for this plant right here to also get a bigger blessing too. So I just buried the spirit seed, so now hopefully this will slowly become spirit soil, but I don't know what kind of effects that would have because the plant was already planted there first. So I'm just going on off of a lot of things that I don't know right now and just learning them for myself. So I mean, I just planted it and it doesn't look like there's any change so far, so it's whatever. But like, if I really cared about this and if this was my main focus, then I would have them growing in spirit soil. So I'm going to move forward and add a cushion to these areas, to these spots where I marked that I can have cushions, right? And then if I have my cultivator cultivate there, I'll do my tiger. Then they're getting symphonies from the water spirit root, since that's the one that's growing. And then if all of these other ones had their fertility fits, then they would be getting symphonies from all 5 of them. So that's pretty much the gist of it, and how you can like get your cultivators some good bonuses while also growing all of your spirit roots at once. But just be sure to have that fertility increase from having it on the spirit soil, or having having this blessed spirit root in the middle, and just keep feeding it connective items so that it can stay blessed. So if I was doing the Shendao, then I would want these all to be counteractive. However, I'm not really worried about that, but I do want the gnarled vine to be blessed at the very least, so that I can get that fertility boost. So gnarled vine is enhanced by water, so I'll just feed it like a fat water elemental item. And let's see, I'll just go to tier and then go to water. So yeah, a soul pro should do. It should increase the bless / curse significantly. And then you can also increase it by increasing these other stats. So right here, as well as their growth speed, so they're 5 elements, and I can make this like more cursed by placing items down that are counteracted to the spirit root on top of these tiles. So that would be the next step in terms of what I would do if I was very focused on getting them to be either blessed or cursed, but I'm not right now. So I'm just going to leave it like this, and let me just check this guy's base mental state. Okay, it's 69, so they should be good to just, just sit here and cultivate and, benefit from the spirit roots. So yeah, that's just a rough draft of something that I was looking into, and I guess it kind of overtook the video, honestly. So yeah, That's pretty much how you would grow all 5 spirit roots at once. You have all spirit roots in this configuration that I have set up, and then you just have one spirit root in the middle that will increase the fertility for all the other spirit roots. And as you can see, fertility is the main problem. In terms of like changing the 5 elements, I would just have to put like strong elemental emitters on top of these. So like the metal pill, and there's different pills that are named for each element. So like earth pill and stuff like that, earth flux, and they all have like different elemental emits that are really strong. And you can go into the wiki for elemental emit. So I wouldn't like plan on having an item, but I would just go to the wiki, right, for elemental emitter. This is basically how I would make sure that my spirit root has a connective or a counteractive element for it. So I would go to the elemental emitter wiki, right, and then I would scroll down and go to this because this has a list of items, and then I would sort this by strength. So now that it's sorted by strength, and I can now see which ones have the strong elemental emit, and they don't necessarily have to have chi gather because spirit roots just need 200 chi gather, which isn't that lot. You can always just create a chi fountain if you want to increase that. So I just go down this list and then kind of like see if I have any of these items. So for example, I know that I want the gnarled vine to be blessed, and I do want to do my best to make sure that that has the best blessing value, right? And since it's a wood spirit root, I will move forward with placing water items around it. So Soul Pearl, I think that would be a little bit too harsh because the Soul Pearl influences the temperature at a really high level more than anything else in terms of on the water side. So I'm going to skip Soul Pearl even though I know I have that in my inventory. And the Dragon Elixir, that's just a rare item. But I could use that because I have Mount Shu conquered, and it has a strength elemental emit strength of 25, which is insane. So I would just keep going down the list, and then this is something that would be like more in my lane of like what I would be using on a typical game. So this is something that I would rely on. Even the Ice Essence bar might be a little bit too much for me, so I might even just downgrade myself to using Fire Powder. But right now I do have a lot of Flood Dragon Scales, so like this is basically how I would be thinking if I wanted to change the elemental influence around a spirit root. So, and these all have the elemental emit strength of 12, so it's really no difference between them all. So I think I will want to use Flood Dragon Scales just because I have so many of them. So I can show you guys what that looks like. So I have this disciple right here. They have a pretty empty inventory, and there's 8 tiles around the spirit root, and they occupy 9, but I just don't like placing items directly on top of the spirit root because when they're generating items, like they get double layered, and then it's just really hard to put your mouse on the spirit root to kind of look at its status. So I just like to keep it simple and then have 8 items. But Flood Dragon Scale, this is just something light, but it has a really strong water elemental emission while also not changing the temperature too much. So this is how I would do it. I would place my items on the tiles of the spirit root, just around it, and I'm struggling to click this guy. Come on. And then besides that, I have these 2 scales. So now this thing has 8 water elemental items around it, and they have a strong water elemental emit. So as you can see, the 5 element bonus is pretty good. So that's just going to help them become blessed. And then if I wanted to make these cursed, I would do the same thing but with the opposite. So like I will put water items at the crimson fruit too, in order to keep it cursed. Because I typically like to have my spirit root cursed, but it all depends on the items that you're trying to output. And also I do want to mention that this look of like my spirit roots only look like this because sometimes like if you place them down, then it looks like they're fully grown, but or like mature to a point, but that's not the case. So I'm gonna save and load and show you guys what that looks like. And then hopefully like later on, as my gnarled vine becomes more blessed, it will bolster up the fertility of the other tiles because it doesn't look like that spirit seed that I spent my money on even worked. So let's see. So I'll just name this day 317 Spirit Roots Planet. So now let's see what they look like. As you can see, they're just little nubs, you know, just growing though. But yeah, the sage fruit, okay. Oh, I think the fertility got changed when I... No, let's see. Because I think saving and loading did something. But this should be unsuitable fertility, right? Because it says 1.4. But this right here is 2.3, 2.3, 1.56, 2.4. So I'm actually confused about this. Okay, yeah, it says unsuitable fertility, so that kicked in. Yeah, so everything is unsuitable, and hopefully it'll increase as this gnarled vine continues to grow and become more blessed. Right now it says 0.33%, so hopefully my goal is to make it 100% blessed, so that it can increase the fertility of these guys by 1 more. Or I really just need 0.2 points, so that's pretty much my goal. And of course there's a fire going on right now because this room is so hot, and these are gold wood display cases, so that was a part of my blueprint, so I just overlooked that. So I'm just going to take these off because I don't even need them anymore, and then I'm going to quickly acquire the materials to the mini universe so that there's no chance that they catch fire. Oh, a disciple already had it handled. So as you can see, those display cases went on fire, and then these ones didn't because they're made out of fire materials. So now everything is good, and I can just have my cultivators just cultivate here just to collect bonuses from the spirit roots, not to actually level up in cultivation level. And this is pretty much what you would have a pre-GC Sun Pill cultivator doing to possibly get bonus chi. So this guy is pretty much retired, so I'll have him sit here too. Demigods, they only cultivate. Oh, I had 2 events back to back. Let's make this guy human. So you can see, this guy is also getting the symphonies. I don't know why I say symphonies, sympathies. I don't know. Symphony just sounds like, it just sounds smoother. It's like, oh yeah, you got a symphony. Is like you're vibing out with the spirit root. I don't know. In my mind, it just makes more sense for it to be a symphony, but it's a sympathy. So they're feeling the emotions of the spirit root. So sorry for that. But yeah, once all of these have their fertility increased by this one, we'll be good. And you know, just to double check the area, or at least that's my theory. This is my first time trying this out, so bear with me if it doesn't work. So as you can see, all of these spirit roots middle tile are within the range of that one gnarled vine's fertility range, which is 1 tile inside. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. And yeah, I ended up doing a video on a completely different topic, so I guess in the next video I'll do tribulations. But you know, let me just do one tribulation for good luck before I end this video. I was supposed to do 25 tribulations, and I ended up talking about spirit roots for 40 minutes. That's beautiful. You never know what you're going to get into, because sometimes I'm like, I'm too tired to even think about this right now. But then once I keep going, I'm like, I should just do this right now since it's on my mind, you know. It's like that chore that you don't want to do, but then once you get into it, it just makes more sense to finish it just to see it through. But I don't have anything like that on my mind in terms of the next hour of gameplay that I want to do. So the next video will definitely be me completing out these tribulations. I'll do reversal cycle. Heavenly Panacea. And Vitality Chant. Yay, we made some progress. I still have to do 21 more. So yeah, I think that ends the video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoy watching me learn something, and I'll see you guys in the next video.